Okay. Welcome, everybody. This is our third LIT call of the series. And Kathy and Tegan and I did a poll on our page to see what you guys really want to talk about tonight. And like overwhelmingly, it was about recruiting and team building. So how many people on here are wanting to learn how to team build? Show of hands. All right. Awesome. 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 Okay. So we're going to go through, and I would probably get out pen and paper because I think there's going to be a lot of information in this one. You're really going to want to have, look at those people already ready with their pens out and their paper out. Look at that. Awesome. So at Wildtree, I mean, really, you guys, you're, and I'm just kind of jumping in tonight, by the way. So sorry if, I know, I'm just jumping in tonight. But your success here and to make big money really depends on building a team. It just really does. That's the way our comp plan works. And so let's just, talk about it the way it is and not beat around the bush. That's the way it works. If you want to make big money here, you build a team. So leadership is really easy when you have A+ people. I mean, that's just it. So you are looking for business builders. You are not looking for product lovers, period. If they love the product, then have them host a party and invite their friends. You want to build your team with people who want to build a business, who want to build an opportunity. And that's going to look different for everybody. That could be $500 is what they want to build their business and income. It could be $1,000. It could be a career change. It's going to look different for everybody, but you're looking for people who want to do some work, not just fill the pantry. Does that make sense? I think that's the number one thing I want to get across right now. So the business opportunity is honestly our best product that we have, and that's where you should start. When you're talking to people, that's where you're starting, is right there, okay? And then you work your way down to hostess and down to customer. So when you're talking to somebody about Wildtree, it's about the opportunity, about being a rep. Join me, have fun, come try this. Things like that. Okay, we'll get into like language in a little bit. So who on here has a recruiting goal? Show me, raise your hand. You have a recruiting goal, you know what it is, you're going after it. Sorry, I'm not really stripping down, but my office is hot with all the lights on in here. Okay, so if you don't have a recruiting goal, that's the number one thing you need to do. So write that down. For those of you that don't have one, write it down. And as a team leader, you're gonna really wanna try and have about 2 to 5 people every month that you recruit. Like my goal every month is at least 5. And you guys, there's some months where that doesn't happen. Most months, I'm gonna tell you that doesn't happen. But my goal is 5, because if I'm shooting for 5, at least I'm gonna get 2 or 3. And I'm gonna be, you get what you focus on. Okay, so if you're just going to focus on sales, you're going to get sales. If you're going to focus on bookings, you're going to get bookings. If you're focusing on recruits, you're going to get recruits. So there's different times in your business where you're going to be focusing on different things. And right now, going for team leader, one of the things you need is more team members. It's going to just make getting to team leader that much easier because you have other people working with you. So if you had to rate yourself right now on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being I'm the absolute best, I'm a rock star recruiter, I talk about it all the time, what would that number be? Okay, 1, 0. Wait, 0 wasn't on the scale. Okay, so are you guys ready to make a change? Are you ready to change that? Do you want to move up that scale? Because if you do, you have to make some changes in your mindset. You have to make changes with what you're doing, and change is uncomfortable. And it's scary, and you got to do it anyway. Okay? So if you guys remember in the very beginning, we had this like report card that we used. One of the sections says, I'm an expert team builder. Do you guys remember this? When we first started the Grow section, we talked about it at the very beginning, and then we talked about it at the end of it, and to go back through. So this really tells you okay, where do I need to improve? If you're looking at this and you can say, well, do I hand everybody a packet? Well, if you do that, that's great. You know, you've started that. Do you have a system for how you get the information out there? Do you have a system for follow-up? This is going to help you know where you need to improve. Okay. And some of it talks about, like, are you proud of your business? Are you ashamed of your business? Are you embarrassed you're in direct selling? You know, some different things like that too. And you'll want to talk to your upline about those things and really work through those roadblocks that you have, if that's where you're getting held back. Okay. What, if you guys had to pick a couple of things, tell me what does hold you back? What do you guys think holds you back in team building?
People being receptive of it, not receptive, I guess, of it necessarily.
So people being receptive of it, is that, are you afraid they're going to say no? Would that be the same thing as being receptive?
Yeah, and almost, I guess, like, I haven't actually gotten a no from some of the people that I've spoken with. It's just more of a look sort of thing.
So you haven't gotten a no.
Yeah.
You get a look.
Yeah.
And so then I would say, I see you're giving me a look. Tell me what that look means. More information. I can't read your mind. I wouldn't go that far, but I'd be like, okay, you're giving me a look. Tell me what that look means. Otherwise, you're making an assumption. You have no idea what they're thinking.
Yeah.
I gave a look tonight to my son, and he's like, "Are you mad?" I'm like, "I'm not mad. I just really don't feel great tonight, and I'm not mad, you know." But I didn't realize I was giving him a look like I was angry, right?
Yeah.
And so they may give you a look of like, "Oh, she caught me off guard with that question. I'm not sure." You know, but you're not going to know what they're thinking unless you ask. And so it sounds like maybe some assumptions are being made that probably aren't truth, you know? And so be real careful about making assumptions for other people and, like, you know, figuring out, oh, I think they might want to do this, or they probably don't want to do it. They have a really good job. Don't profile people. You just never know.
Right.
So that's kind of mindset. I think affirmations, like a way to overcome that, it would be affirmations, mindset, being in gratitude, building relationships with that person, are some ways you could overcome it. What's some other fears? What holds you guys back in team building? I saw a lot of ones on that scale of 1 to 5, so there's got to be some things holding you back. What else?
Well, I have negative kind of past experiences with different direct sales companies and their recruiting tactics. I project onto other people and assume that be one of those direct sales people. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And how would you say those people went about it with you? What made it feel negative?
Really pushy and really not interested, I guess, in what I wanted, or more just kind of felt like a car salesman kind of a tactic sometimes, of more wanting to get the paper signed than in like even figuring out if it was something that was a fit or whatever.
So how can we overcome that, you guys? We're just going to talk about all of our fears, and we're just going to figure out how to overcome them, and then we're going to leave this call, and you guys are going to be rock star recruiters, because then there won't be a reason, right? We're going to have answered all the fears and all the questions. So how can we overcome that and not be pushy salesy type people when talking about team building and asking people to join us in this opportunity?
I think if you're genuine,
show more interest in them than in why they would possibly want to join, rather than, hey, I just need you to join my team because I'm trying to meet a goal.
Yep. Yeah. I think, just what you guys said, focusing on that relationship, right? I mean, that's how being authentic. And it's okay to say, hey, I don't know if this is for you or not. Are you interested in just hearing a little bit more? And let's see if it is. And if it is, great. And if it's not, that's okay too. Does that help, Andrea? Yeah. And I guarantee that if you have a fear or a thought, then someone else on this call right here, right now has the same one too. So it's great to speak it out loud. And I love hearing you guys say what you would do for it, because I'm just want to show you guys have everything you need to do this. It's just kind of sometimes you have to speak these things out loud and get them out there to overcome them. Okay. And so your tripods, this would be a great conversation for your tripods if you want to dive in deeper too. What else? What's another fear?
Fear itself. I mean, I'm enthusiastic and excited about, and everyone tells me how passionate I am about Wild Tree, but when it comes to, the business opportunity, I feel like I'm in the same tone, but when it comes to the surveys, they're all zeros or maybe a 1. And then I am scared to death to ask them face to face about that.
Can we do a little exercise real quick, Annie? Who here rated high on the business opportunity on a customer survey that they've filled out before? Okay, who here has filled out a customer care survey before? Okay. If you were to fill out a customer care survey before you joined, would your rating be low, raise your hand, or high? Does that make sense? Like, I was a 0 for 4 years, Annie asked me. 4 years. I would have been, if she would have handed me a survey, I would have been a 0, like a -5. I would have been no, please don't. I was like a firm no a lot for 4 years. So who here sees a customer care survey like this gal, right? The dreaded lowest numbers all down the board, right? Who here sees a survey like that and doesn't talk about the business opportunity? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I do that sometimes.
Okay, sorry, Annie. I just wanted to see that.
I was going right there with you. I was going to ask the exact same question. And actually what I do, I have started tracking in my customer database. I actually track what they put on that. And my last 4 recruits, since I've started tracking that, have all been a 0. Every single one of them.
Very interesting.
Yep. So let's think of some words that when we see that 0, what could we say to them to ask them about it?
I know.
Tell me what a 0. Go ahead.
It's like, I know what I'm supposed to say. It's like, this doesn't nothing about what I do. I know the words. I just can't. I shut down.
The fear of rejection.
Have you tried not looking at the survey before you talk to the person?
Mm-hmm. I struggled even just to get people to come talk to me one-on-one. That's a huge phobia of mine.
So I'm trying to think if I've read any books. I'll have to think about some books for that. But that's definitely a mindset.
Oh, I know it is.
The paradigm shift of you're really keeping, okay, I'm going to be just kind of really blunt, and maybe this sounds ugly, but you're really keeping what could be an enormous blessing to somebody away from them.
It's not that I don't bring it up. It's I talk to people about it. It's just when it's one-on-one, face-to-face, no.
So when do you talk to them about it?
I try and do it via email, text, things like that. Try and do it over the phone.
How does that work for you?
It's not. I know.
Okay. Are you ready to make a change?
I'm trying.
Yeah. I think practice. I think sometimes part of it is just, you just got to practice, and it feels really uncomfortable, really, really uncomfortable. But if you do it once, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, by about the 20th time, it starts to feel a little bit better. But it's uncomfortable. And that's kind of why I started today with, are you ready for change? Are you ready to be uncomfortable? Are you ready to try something different? I've been using how Kathy taught at STIR National Conference, when she individually has everyone come over starting at the second bag. That's worked really well for me. I feel like people are actually getting in and out faster, and maybe that would help, because you said it was hard sometimes to get people to have one-on-one conversations in general. Maybe that would help.
Trying that, but I swear it's when I have the intention of that's how I want to go, it does not go that way. I've only had it happen twice that have been successful.
To have the conversations one-on-one?
Lately.
Mm-hmm. 2 out of how many attempts?
2 out of it. Probably out of about 6 or 7.
Okay. What else? Does anyone else have any ideas for Kat? Other ways to get comfortable with one-on-one conversations, or to have those one-on-one conversations?
And guys, this is like your safety net. Like, Kat, that's a huge deal that you're speaking out right now, because every single person on here has either been in your position or is in your position currently, or has never even made any attempts at pulling people aside. So, thank you for your bravery in speaking up, because I think this is a really valid point here. And my Southwestern coach and I spoke about the same thing today. Like, literally, that I am holding myself back from getting to where I need to be. And that's the exact same thing we're talking about here, is that we are all fearful, right? There's fear here. And if there wasn't fear, everyone would be asking every single person with passion and purpose and intention, because we know that what we do here is meaningful and valid and worthy. So all of this fear that we're talking about in all these examples, let's throw it down on a chopping block and let's hash through it together.
Yeah.
Do you think you could have a friend role play with you?
I do a lot of that, and my husband's even asked, but I'll talk to myself and have a conversation with myself of how it's going to work, and I get there, and I get derailed.
Is it the fact that it's somebody that you don't know, or is that kind of what flusters you a little bit?
I don't know. I'm kind of an introvert, so this is really pushing me.
So would it be something that maybe just having a general conversation with somebody in a grocery store here and there, just trying to do that, maybe not even talking about Wild Tree, but just having a conversation about the soup or the weather may help a little bit?
It's weird because sometimes I go to a party and it goes smoothly and it has kind of along the lines of what I have in vision, but then there are other ones I get there and it's the smaller ones that kill me. It's the small parties because they tend to, everyone sticks together. It's like trying to pull one away and they don't want to separate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I really struggle with.
Sometimes in those situations, I'll just have a conversation with all 3 or 4 people standing right there all together. And I'll just be like, you guys, okay, who in this group wants to join me and, do this? This is, and I'll just have it in one group instead of doing, pulling them aside. Because I've had that happen where, I had one last week and the lady was like, nope, I don't want to go over there. I am not done yet. And she was just like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I've had that conversation all together. And if anything, if they aren't a rep that time, I usually get a booking from that at least. What other ideas?
Do you tell them in your presentation that I will be pulling, like when you're explaining this is how you go about making the meals, and around the second meal I'm going to grab you, kind of like setting the expectation, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something that I know Andrea and I have talked about a lot. Andrea, I'm sorry. Just setting the expectation. It's about the expectation that you tell them they're going to do. Your confidence, your poise, that that's why you're here to serve them, and that's how you serve them, period. No questions asked. And then they do it. It's amazing. Like, I don't want this to sound bad, but I'm also like, I get them to do anything I want them to do because I told them that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you feel like in your demo, do you feel really confident and poised like Kathy's talking about? Do you feel that way when you talk about the recruiting or when you talk about having a one-on-one with them?
I feel that I do. I mean, maybe that's because I usually bring it up in the very beginning, and then I mention it a couple times throughout.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you tried hovering? I do a lot of hovering if needed.
Talk about that a little bit, Kathy.
Yeah, so sometimes if they don't want to pull away, I find that it's harder with the big parties that they don't want to pull away. So I just start, before when I used to pull people away, I would be random with it. Okay, so I would just like go to one person and then to the next. But now I'm more strategic, so I start with one particular person that really warmed up to me. Because I know she's not going to give me any problems coming to talk to me. So I'll start with her, and then I strategically, I say, okay, I'm going to be right back for you next to the person next to her. So they know, they start to learn by the time I get to 2 or 3 people, I'm going to the person next to them, and I just work my way around. So they already like kind of see what's happening. And if somebody's there and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for you when you get to a stopping point, and she kind of isn't paying attention to me, I'll just kind of stand there and hover. And just start having conversations with them and say, okay, and I'll stand there for a minute or 2. And then, I don't know, they just kind of usually say, okay, I got a stopping point, and they'll come. So you got to be good at hovering too. But I only have to use that, I don't know, 2 out of 10 times or something. So it's not something that's common because this is what we do. But if so, you can be good at hovering, just butting in their conversations and hovering.
Yeah. The other thing I just had a thought of is, like you said, it's worked 2 out of 6 times. And I'm thinking, when we start new reps, I tell them, you're not going to be comfortable until after 8 parties. And really, even then, you're still going to feel uncomfortable sometimes. And I'm wondering if maybe you don't have enough of that under your belt quite yet, and you need to do it a few more times and see if it doesn't help get a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, I agree on that, Annie, because even when if I have 1 workshop a week, I'm used to doing 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. If I have 1, I feel rusty when I start. Like I got to get in my groove again. So, I mean, that's even true for people that have hundreds and hundreds of parties under their belt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even like earlier this year, I would practice my demo on the way to the party.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this a long time. And even the last party I did last week, I was like, okay. And I just was kind of going through my head, here's what I want to make sure I hit on. But I wonder if that's part of it, is just getting a bigger number under your belt. And it might start becoming a little bit more comfortable.
It's not that it's just that having changed trying to do it more as Kathy kind of instructed at conference is where, I've changed my talk, and I keep trying to tweak it to make it easier, but I feel like sometimes I ramble and I go off the deep end.
I wonder if you have a little card with notes and, like a cheat sheet and to help keep you on task.
I do.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's just for me. It's just it's the confidence and just that repetitive motion. But the thing is, I have it in my head how I want it to go, and when it doesn't, then I'm derailed.
Yeah.
And so my confidence is shaken.
You guys read that book? I cannot remember the author's name, but it's called like Self-Sabotage by Pat. Man. Hang on. Okay, I'll have to look it up. But I wonder if reading that wouldn't help just a little bit too. I used to get
and that's
Are you an authority, Kat? Has she done Market Force, Tegan? Yeah. So authorities really like to have a plan, and it's hard to do things on the fly, and when it goes off rail, it's really uncomfortable.
That was control.
Control. Okay. Well, I'll try and get the name of that book. But I do think more practice and maybe some affirmations around like, I'm going to mess up and it's okay. I'm going to keep going when that happens. And just saying some things like, I'm great. I'm a good recruiter. I'm a good team builder. People want to do business with me. And just figuring out what it is, and you can work with Tegan on those if you haven't already, but maybe some that are more specific. I mean, Tegan knows how to do these. She's awesome at them. So, and
I think
it hurt.
to giving yourself grace that every one of these workshops is going to be totally different because everybody's different. And so just knowing that you have an outline that you're going to stick to, but it's going to be different. That's why I tell people every time I do this, it's different. And just being okay with that being different. I mean, shoot, I'm an accountant. I want everything to be exactly the same. But when I realized it's never going to be the same, give myself grace and just go with it. You just go with the flow. That's where my business turned around.
That's great advice.
There's a book that I read. I think it was before you guys went to Jamaica. I think Tegan was reading it, and there was a bunch of Wild Tree reps that were reading it. I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. And it does help with confidence. And I probably am the queen of low confidence. I have a lot more since I started doing this, but still working on a daily process. But it's You Are a Badass. This book is amazing. So I would definitely recommend reading this one. Because like I said, my confidence level before I started trying Wild Tree is really negative 100. So, I mean, it's definitely improved. It's getting higher and higher every day, but I highly recommend. It's by Jen Serino. And then she has another one. It says, You Are a Badass at Making Money. That's my next book I'm going to read. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I just posted the one I was referring to in the chat. So if you want to look at that. She actually spoke at one of my first Wild Tree conferences. Okay, what else? Does anyone else have a fear or something that holds them back from team building?
I think a problem I have is when I'm having a conversation with someone about the business opportunity, I tend to overtalk. And so when I'm trying to build that relationship with them, sometimes I'll ask a question and then just keep talking myself. And I think I need to have cut and dried questions or topic starters so that I can just shut myself up and listen. Mm-hmm. So if there's suggestions for that, maybe.
Yeah, I was really, really bad at that. Really bad. I always wanted to talk and I never listened. And it was very humbling when I first found that out and figured that out. because I think that's what I did because I was nervous. So it wasn't because I was selfish or self-centered, because I got nervous when I would talk instead of listening. And Paula's shaking her head, yes, because you remember that's how Paula's grown this business with me. So she knows that's how I used to be. And when I figured out to just sit back and just silence is okay, asking a question and just letting there be silence and letting them answer was probably the best thing that I ever did for my own sanity too. So that's hard. And just learning, like, sometimes I even find myself biting my lip. Like, I will literally bite my lip so that I just shut up.
Yeah.
So there's a tip, bite your lip.
I literally bite my tongue. Like,
yep.
But I keep my mouth closed. So that's what I do too, because I used to have that problem. I just thought everybody wanted the information, and it wasn't until, a couple of years ago I learned, like, oh, some people really don't care. They just want to sign up, but I'm giving them information that they don't even want. And now I've totally turned off a WildTree.
Yep, I used to vomit a lot of information on people.
Me too.
They didn't even want it.
No. Any other fears? Does anyone have a fear of you get a rep and then you don't know what to do? Anybody have that fear? Okay. What do you think you could do if that happens? What would you do if you got a rep?
Have them talk to you.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Do a 3-way call with your upline, or your upline leader is really who I would do it with. Yeah. That way, if you do a 3-way call, then you can hear the verbiage that we're using and you can learn how to do it. All right. If there's one more, does anyone have one? Okay, I'm going to pass it on to Kathy then, and she's going to kind of take you through the next step.
Yeah, and so I wanted to talk about recruiting at your parties, because to me, this is my biggest avenue, and it may not be for everybody, but I'm in front of enough people, and I work my tail off when I'm in front of people. So that's kind of my thing, is recruiting at the parties. So there's a couple things to kind of, I guess, hone in on when you're recruiting at parties. And the first thing is, what's your pitch? What's your attitude? And we just touched on this, right? So are you somebody that somebody wants to work with? Are you positive? Are you excited? Do you make this look duplicatable? Do you make it look easier? Or do you make it look like it's too hard for someone to do? Okay, so your confidence. People want to work with me. Like, I want to be worked with, right? So, that's my positive confirmation. Like, people want to join my team. People want to be like me. Just saying those things, just thinking those things. And it takes time to get there. So, like we said, giving yourself grace. But, just, are you being that person? Are you excited? Are you having the attitude? And one of the hardest things, we all have life, and we all have things going on in our life, or a kid crying when we walk out the door to a workshop. Or we had someone call us on the way and kind of got us out of our zone. So just getting back in your zone. When you walk in that door, you walk in that host door, like, you are excited. You are there for them. You're somebody that is duplicatable, all those things. Okay. So everything else stays outside that door. And that's one of the big things about this, is you don't ever go in carrying any kind of baggage in with you. Okay. That's big, right? We all have life. And I remember when I first started going to my workshops, my daughter would cry when I left, because it was the evenings and she was 2, 3, or 4 years old. And so I would have to shake that off. Like, that was one of the biggest things that I had to do. I stopped doing coaching calls on the way to my workshops. I used to do coaching calls, and it was too much. It would just get me in a different mindset, and it was just too exhausting. So just those things. How is your mindset when you're going into your workshops? Are you setting yourself up to want someone to join your team with you? Do they want to be with you? Okay. Remember, you're selling yourself, your own brand. That's Tegan's word, right? So be your own brand. People want to be with you and work with you. Okay. And then how many people are you in front of? So that's what people say, I hear so much when I'm coaching, I'm not good at recruiting. I just can't do this. and say, okay, well, how many people have you been in front of? Okay, then maybe they have one new rep for the month. Well, you're only in front of 10 or 15 people. Then you're a rock star recruiter if you're 1 in 10, right? I mean, that's what we say should happen. So how many people are you really in front of? Are you in front of enough people? And I probably preach the numbers so much you're tired of hearing it already. But that's just the way the numbers work, getting in front of enough people and asking. So it's not just you being in front of them, but it's you asking and talking to them and having a meaningful conversation about it. Okay. So they don't count towards your numbers just because they sat at a workshop. Okay. So when you ask them and you talk to them about it, that's when they count towards your numbers. Okay. Any questions on those so far?
This is Tim Barkle.
Go ahead.
And let me.
Okay. And then the other thing is, I just saw a call. I can't remember where the call was. Are you recruiting your host? Most of my recruits, when I first started recruiting, came from my host. That was kind of the easiest avenue. Those are the people that you already built a relationship with. They already trust you. They should already be your best friend by the time you go into that workshop. So are you, presenting that opportunity to them in a comfortable manner for you and for them, before you order, and when you come to their workshop, and when they have 5 or 6 bookings from their workshop, are you presenting that opportunity to your host? That's your biggest fan. That's the number one person you're in front of. Okay, so a lot of your recruits should come from that. And there's a lot of calls. I can try to find that call. Andy, do you remember what it was that the last call that they talked about recruiting your host? I don't know. I just listened to it not long ago. So are you recruiting your host? Okay, so that's a big avenue. And the next thing is your one-on-one time. So this is something, if everybody was at conference, you heard me talk about, that I preach about, all your one-on-one time. And if you're not using the survey in the manner that's giving you comfort, it's making you more scared or fearful of what you're talking to somebody about, then don't even look at it. Get the survey for them, turn it over, and start a conversation like they're your friend. Okay? But having those conversations and just starting, emptying their cup and starting with the whale, ending with the fish, right? So you guys know what I mean by that, as in talking about the opportunity, then hosting, then as a customer. Okay? So my language that I preach over and over is, I always ask, what questions do you have, or where do you feel like you fit as far as a rep, as a host, as a customer? I say that to every single person at the workshop. And that's how you get your numbers. Okay? So as a host, or as a rep, as a host, as a customer. So going in that order. And then you always work up. So if someone says, I'm going to be your best customer ever, I think that would be great. Then I say, okay, so let's talk about hosting. Does that mean you don't ever want to host? Does that mean, I ask that. Okay, that's the language I usually say. And just last night, I think I had 13 people at a workshop. I talked to 12. One I arranged a phone call with because she had to leave. But I presented that to all 12, and probably 10 out of 12 said they would be the best customer. They want to order some things. And I went back to host, and I left there with 7 bookings. I filled November just because of that one sentence. Okay. So that really works. It will work if you just have the confidence to say it. Okay. Any questions on that? You want me to go through that again, or are you guys getting it?
I just want you to come do my parties.
Well, it's funny because.
What'd you say, Tegan?
Oh, I said just a couple of parties, just get it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kathy told me once she learned everything from me, so I'm trying to relearn whatever it is I forgot.
Yes, it is. It's true. No, I mean, but it's funny because when I say that and I say, I want to order something, it's because that's where their mind goes. It's like the easiest thing is, what I want to order,
Right.
or I'm going to be your customer. And when I say, well, what about hosting? Like, you seem like you'd have a lot of friends that would love this. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, I can, but I just can't do it right now. This, you always hear that. Or, I really, you know what, I do want to host. That's what like 2 of them said to me, I'm like, well, then why didn't you say that first? Like, it just doesn't make sense. But their mind doesn't go there. It's just not their instinct. And so I'm not helping them unless I said that. Like, how many people would have walked out of there and not shared this with their friends? That's the thing is, fear is because you're worrying about yourself and your own image. You're not truly thinking about the other person, right? Who posted that video today? Was it Jamie? Were you the one that posted that video today on our growth call or our growth series? Maybe that's what it was. There was Amy did. Okay. So that's where I heard that language today. I mean, you're worrying about yourself instead of the other person, right? So you need to be service oriented. Go in there. How can I help them? And if they just want to be a customer, them buying a bottle of grape soda is not helping them. I'm sorry, but it's not. Okay. The grape soda is going to be great for 30 uses, and then they're done. Okay. Hosting and sharing this or joining, that's where we can help them. Okay. So think anything else on that. And then also, if they go directly to host, then that's where I go up to rep. So if they say, yeah, I do want to host a workshop, then it's okay. Well, let's talk about being a rep. You already know you want to host. Does that mean you have a lot of friends that you think would be interested? And they're like, yeah, I know I want to do this. Well, what about as a rep? You don't have any questions about them? Would that be a good fit? You think you want to toss around some ideas on that? And then if they say no, right? Then I'm going to talk to them later once they have 15 people come to the workshop. They're so confident. Okay. So just always going up one. That language always goes up one. Okay. And, I never say the same things twice. So just doing what's comfortable, just coming up with multiple ways to say it. That's where you'll feel comfortable on it. Okay. So you can't use my words. You can't, you have to find your own words to be comfortable. Okay. Let's see what else I was going to say. Working on that role playing. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So when do you give the customer care survey? Are you giving that when they're working on their workshop, or are you giving that? I haven't been there yet.
Yeah. Annie, am I allowed to tell the truth here?
Yeah.
I have never used a customer care survey.
Okay.
And the reason is because
Did you know that? Tegan?
Yeah.
I mean, I had put 2 and 2 together, but like to hear you say that loud in an LIT platform, I'm like, okay.
So, and I tell people, I teach my reps to use it, okay, because that gets them asking the questions.
Yep.
But if you ask the 3 ways to Wild Tree, then throw that thing in the trash, okay? But if you're not, then you have to use the survey, okay? So I guess that's my all honesty of it, So that's how I teach. I always teach my reps to use it. And there's many different avenues and when to use it. But I usually suggest that they use it when they come over and they fill it out and then we talk.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question, Mallory?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
I think it's
Okay. Okay.
The
Yeah.
service is there when you're learning. And then when Kathy says it and makes it so easy, then you can practice that and, see how it works for you. I still use the survey, and I've just started doing the way that Kathy does the one-on-one, and I have them fill it out when they come over. I actually am to a point now where I just ask the questions, but I still have them fill out the survey just because I'm kind of catching myself because I'm new at this. And so I'm just trying to make sure that I am catching it and doing it and seeing if what they told me was actually what they write on the survey. And so right now that's what I'm doing, but my hope is eventually maybe I won't have to use a survey either. But for now, that's what I'm doing. So.
Well, and I like the survey for information capturing and just making sure all my T's are crossed and I's are dotted as far as, if there are referrals that they have that they're writing down, or I guess that information piece, because most of my workshops are half workshopping, half there for the tasting. And I don't want anyone to slip through the cracks if they're not ordering and so on. And just for reference, but I think that the default goes to using this as gospel truth. And that's not what we want this to be for at all. And if that's the case, then everyone needs to stop using them, because we need to be having a conversation, which is Kathy's entire point. All of our entire points is that we need to be having a conversation about these things and not just saying, oh, well, you circled a 1 or a 0, you're clearly not interested. That's not at all the truth. They probably, more than likely, which is what we're seeing, they don't have enough information. They don't know enough about the concept of being a rep, or there's fear involved with, do I have enough time? My fall calendar is crazy. Do I know enough people? I don't know if I can stand up there and do what she's doing. So they just need to be talked to, which again boils back to, they just need to have a conversation with you about it. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a question for Kathy, and I might actually be answering my own question. It has happened quite a bit today. All I can really do is Facebook parties at this moment because my husband's work schedule. When would be the best opportunity to bring up the business opportunity instead of having a post that shows the opportunity and having nobody comment on it?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I think the big thing for you is going to be trying to get one-on-one conversation set with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So reach out to each
Doing a lot of one-on-ones.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was.
Yeah. And maybe you set the expectation just like at our workshops and tastings, I have a one-on-one session with every single person. It could be 2 minutes, it could be 30 minutes. So it's very important for me to be able to help you where you are, to have that conversation. So, would tomorrow at 9 or Wednesday at 10 or so and so work for you for us to have a quick conversation? Like, I think those one-on-ones will be vital for you.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be a good idea to put something like that in my live video I do before my parties? Just set that expectation, say, hey, I want to let you guys know up front, I'll be reaching out into each individual person to set up a time to do a one-on-one conversation. When's a good time for you? Something like that?
Yeah. I think as many times as you go through it and just stay service-oriented and they're hearing that, the better. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think that those numbers, you could have 30 people at a Facebook event. I don't know if those numbers really count until you have a conversation with somebody. You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of, you're trying to be in front of enough people, but having that connection with them is where I count that 1 in 10, right? So
Okay.
that'll be big for you to get people connected in on the phone, or that would be my choice. And that's actually leading into what I was going to end with is, setting appointments with people. So it's okay, especially when you're a new rep or a new leader, it's okay to say, hey, I don't know the answer to that question about the opportunity that you're asking me, but I know someone who does. So can we schedule a call tomorrow? Are you available at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning? And I'll have an answer for you. We can talk to the best of your questions. Okay. Or I set up a lot of calls where we sit for a couple minutes and they're about the opportunity and they just want to know more. They don't want to talk to their husband. Then I set a call. So set a time or a date, preferably both, is really important. Just like you have a doctor's appointment time, right? You use that language. So just setting that time with them, like 2 or 3 calls a week now, because I'm intentional about setting a call time with them. Okay, so I let so many people slip through the cracks because I was not intentional about setting that time. Okay, so that's where if you're going into that, knowing to set those follow-up calls.
Did you guys catch?
And you guys all hear?
You broke out just a little bit, but
yeah, sorry, I'm doing the phone and the Wi-Fi. I'm trying everything tonight.
I'll try and sum it up real quick, but just making sure with every conversation you're having that you have a follow-up conversation set, and not just like, hey, I'll talk to you Monday. Hey, I will talk to you Monday at 2:15. I mean, it is like having an appointment with any other person who does business. It is on your calendar. It is a specific time, and you follow up with them. And at the end of that conversation, it's, all right, you ready to get started? And they're either going to say yes or they're going to say no. And if they say no, 99% of the time, they're going to tell you why they're not yet. So then you can address it. Then you set up the next follow-up, okay? Like if it was talking to their husband, okay, great, talk to them. Do you want to talk, Monday at 2? Wednesday at 5, when are you going to talk to your husband? And just set that call up. And then on that call, all right, you ready to get started? So, I mean, you have the conversation first and be nice and everything, but then make sure you close. That's the point. Make sure you close and ask, are you ready to get started? You ready to sign up? Whatever feels natural to you. Are you ready to join my team? I'm so excited to have you. Are you ready to join my team? And again, they're going to say either yes, or they're going to say, no, I have some more questions. And then you answer those questions. And then you say, are you ready to get started? So you have to close every time. And if they aren't ready, then you figure out what they need, but you set up that next follow-up with them on that call. Does that make sense? Okay. Hey, Kathy.
That's all I had.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, would you mind sharing like how many people you think you're in front of a month and how many recruits you have a month on average?
Yeah. So my goal is to be in front of 100 people a month, and I'm in most months I hit 80.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably, what's my average? I think my average is 5 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even a good recruiter. Look at the numbers. Right? So 5 and 80. Okay. So that's where you got to give yourself grace, right?
Yeah. That's what I wanted them to see though. Like even for us,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my goal is 5, but it's rare that I hit 5, you know? And so, and also seeing like, if you're in front of only, 15 people, having one rep is really great. But if you're only in front of 15 people, having one-on-one conversations with them, then, and you're expecting to get 5 reps, that's an unrealistic expectation. And so something's got to give. Either you have to change your expectation or you get in front of more people and have more conversations one-on-one. So
Yep.
drive that point home.
That's a summary of my whole 30-minute blob. I love it.
There you go. Executive summary for everybody.
Yes, I love it. Perfect.
Tegan is like rock star at recruiting outside of her parties. So she's going to share a little bit about coming from a different angle.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, a couple things. Really just talking about, oh gosh, where do I want to start with this? Okay. So let's start like bare bones basics. Let's talk about just where you are in your immediate reach. Okay. So utilizing the Wild Tree marketing pieces that we have, the beautiful new Business Builder Kit flyer, I think is fantastic. I don't know, Kathy or Annie, if you guys do this. I know we used to train on this, having like a cover letter essentially that you put with a Business Builder Kit flyer. I almost think we get back to that if anyone's stopped doing that or hasn't done that yet. And basically it's just a letter that, and I can share a template of it on the Grow series, but you would just put this cover letter that just talks about, who you are and kind of what your passion is with this. You put it with the Business Builder Kit flyer, tri-fold it, put it in an envelope, and just have a label with your information on it on the outside. And it's literally an envelope, like just a business size envelope with the 2 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper in it, and you can hand that to anyone. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds silly, but kind of the overall picture that we want to paint for you with this segment is to keep your eyes open. Everywhere you go, there's opportunity. So we want to say, don't go out to prospect while you're out. So when you're naturally out at the grocery store, when you're out at the park, when you are at the children's museum, when you are, whatever you're doing, when you're stopping at a rest stop in the middle of nowhere and they have a bulletin board, you better be putting your business cards up there. Just be aware and have your eyes open for people who need what we have to offer. So within my first 2 weeks of moving to Colorado, I met a super sweet gal at the park who ended up joining my team. She has since fallen off. She's pregnant with her 5th baby, and her husband's a firefighter, and she's one of my biggest Wild Tree advocates and refers people to me. But I just remember her just standing there and us just striking up a conversation. And within a week, she had joined my team, maybe even less than that. But just, and it's nothing that's forced. It's open communication. It's us saying, you know, hey, like, we're just asking questions, getting to know them. What do they do? That's a typical conversation that comes up, or a question that comes up in conversation. And just being aware. I mean, how often do you go to the grocery store and you almost avoid people's eye contact? Or, you know, like I always say, I'm herding cats with my kids, but it's brought some of the best conversations when my cart literally bumps into someone and they become my friend. Or we left Sprouts last week, and my dad had surprised me in town, and he was getting in the car with my two of my 4 kids, and I poked my head in the passenger window of this gal's SUV and was like, do you want to be my friend? And she was like, and just busted out laughing, all because my son, like, kind of almost like shoved her out of the way to get a lollipop from the checkout stand. And I was like, sorry, apparently I'm raising rude children, you know? And it was just funny. And I was like, do you want to be my friend? And now she's like asking me all these questions about Wild Tree. And only because, and this is going to segue into the next piece, only because I'm consistent in my social media presence. So step 1, utilize the marketing material we have in front of us. Do you have it on hand? Are you using it? Do you have it to pass out? Are you aware when you go out in public? It doesn't matter how you look. If you are authentic and genuine, that's what attracts people. They actually kind of like when you look like a hot mess, because you're more authentic and genuine and they can relate. So do you use what we have provided? Are you aware? And then are you consistent in your presence, whether it be online, whether it be, are you consistently bringing Wild Tree to your church potluck every month? Are you consistently sharing Wild Tree with your friends who are sick and need an easy meal? Are you consistently the one saying to your school, yes, I will provide a meal for such and such single mom who has cancer and going through treatments? Yes, I will step in and fill that gap. We have everything we need to be able to take care of other people in the food aspect. Are you utilizing that? And then that builds the authentic relationship where then people want to know, well, what do you do exactly? How do you do this? How do you make money having fun? And I see you out partying, and I see you, at home with your kids, and I see you being able to do this job while you're working another full-time position. How do you do this? And that comes in natural conversation. So if you are not utilizing those things, if you do not have a consistent social media presence, I highly recommend making those, like putting an asterisk next to them and kind of circling back around to them. I will say I've had, I don't know, Annie, what was the last time I counted? Like 37 people have joined my team from outside, like social media, YouTube, meeting them at the park or the grocery store randomly in the last year and a half-ish, almost 2 years. 37 people. So it's not by coincidence. It's not like, oh, I randomly met this gal who joined my team and she's the only one who's ever joined my team. It's because it's a consistent, my eyes are open and I'm saying, hey, like I do this super cool gig. Do you want to be part of it? It can literally be as simple as that. So let me see. Let me check my notes. I'm not a note follower or taker. So okay, so, yep, so what marketing pieces are you handing out? Are you aware? And then also, again, with that social media piece in the relationship of team building, really, really, really utilize that because of Wild Tree hashtag. That whole Facebook page is really meant to show people what Wild Tree has meant to and for us. So if you haven't already shared that page on your personal Facebook, or share that to your customer group, or really talked about what that looks like, it's just an easy way to flow into it. We also have a live opportunity event coming up this Thursday, which I promise you'll be seeing some posts in. Share posted to a different page. We won't talk about that. So those things are pieces that we provide for you. Let your upline leaders pour into your people. So your goal right now, everyone who's on this, I'm looking at faces, so I know who's on this. Everyone who's on this, make sure you're writing down this goal. I want 5 to 10 people that you're personally inviting to our live opportunity event on Thursday. And it could be something as simple as, I know we provide verbiage, but like eat crow. If you haven't talked to someone about the business and you've been in business for 6 months, a year, 2 years, and you still haven't mentioned it to ex best friend of yours from high school, message her and say, I owe you an apology for never talking to you about this awesome Wild Tree gig I do, either on the side or full time or whatever your thing is. And I'd love to invite you to learn more about it. Would you be interested in taking a half hour of your time to learn more? And keep it as simple as that. So 5 to 10 people. So again, that's utilizing something that's provided for you. And then on top of that, just be, again, using that Because of Wild Tree hashtag, be showcasing how Wild Tree has really done things for your family, for you as a person, whether it be personal growth. I mean, it doesn't always have to be like business related necessarily. It could be you guys take a family vacation and it's hashtag Because of Wild Tree, or all of those things that you're dripping, people are watching and they're seeing and they're wondering, hey, is this maybe for me? Could I maybe do this? But they're not asking. So you can also use, and I will share this verbiage, but let me read this to you. Of course, I shared it in my desk the other day and she about threw up. Okay, I don't know where it is. But I will literally pick up my phone and I will go to my Facebook Messenger. Okay. I will go to my Facebook Messenger and I will say, I will leave a voice text. So not a text, a written text that people can ignore. I'm still trying to find this little note because it was the bomb. I'll find it and type it up and send it to you guys. But it'll say a Facebook Messenger voice text, okay? So it doesn't get lost anywhere. Everyone can always see it. And thank you. And it says something like, hey, Sarah, I absolutely love following you on Facebook. I wanted to reach out to you about something, and it might sound a little crazy, and it may not even be for you, but I wanted to run this by you. So as you've seen me posting on Facebook, I do this super cool Wild Tree gig, and I'm absolutely sold out for what it's done for me, for my family, for our community, and for our tribe of people around the nation. Would you be interested in hearing more about it? Done. And I have not had one person say, no, I don't want to hear more. Now that conversation has led to different things. Like they want me to send them samples if they've never even, had that capacity. But a couple of people have been interested in the business and they're still sitting on the fence. So I just started doing that with the voice texting in that exact, like, call me crazy, but I really am excited to share this with you. So I will share that little written up verbiage, but try the voice texting. At this point, what have we got to lose, right? We have all these things right at our fingertips. We just need to use them. So if you're really trying to hone in on the whole recruiting at your events, that is absolutely fantastic. If you are scared to death of that and you're like, what's something else I can focus on, or what's something else I can try, or maybe you've mastered recruiting at your events, right? And you want to try something new. I just think that, why not at this point? So have things in your bag ready to go, whether it's your purse, your vehicle, whatever that looks like, that you can hand out to people that you meet. And why not? It's flattery at the worst case, right? If someone handed you something and said, hey, I've been watching you corral your kids at the grocery store and I would love to do business with you, I would be like sobbing, like, are you serious? Like, you want me on your team even when I'm like crazy hot mess mom at the grocery store? I would be so flattered. So that's kind of my 2 cents about recruiting outside of your events. I feel like it's definitely the fun part about team building, because kind of the sky's the limit. You can do anything you want to. You can find local mom boards and post on them. You can almost do like this whole help wanted thing. Like, you could do anything you want with team building outside of events. It's kind of sky's the limit. So there's that piece. And then I was also going to, did anyone have any questions on that before I keep talking? I know we've had you guys on a really long time tonight. Nothing? You guys think I'm crazy? Okay, so the other piece I was going to talk to you guys about is your follow-up, but I feel like Kathy, really had touched base on that. And I would just say to kind of support that is that just have a follow-up system in place. So what does your follow-up system look like? Does anyone want to share? Is anyone honing in on the one that Annie had posted about the digital follow-up system? Yeah, I see some nodding. Okay, so if you don't have a follow-up system in place, I highly, highly recommend getting one. You could be the good old pen and paper version and a binder, or you could be the digital version. I have a gal who is hosting for me next month who has my binder right now. So I have all these random customer care surveys, but I had held up my stack to Annie, and it literally looked something like this, but like this big.
It was like this thick. It took up like the whole screen.
It did. And that was like last week. And I was like, because I'm pen and paper, I can't do the digital thing. I want to touch it and I want it to be crumpled and just crazy. I know. But do what works for you. But follow the system of that you're following up right away. So within 24 to 48 hours. So 2 days, then another 2 days, then 2 weeks, then 2 months. And keep that. And right after that second 2 day, they should funnel into something else, right? They should funnel into your, that they're a hostess for you, or that you're following up with them about an order they placed as a customer, or that you have an appointment that you've set with them, whether it's in-person coffee date, Zoom platform just like this, which you guys can all have a free Zoom account, or you've set up an in-person coffee date. So one of those funnels they should be filtered into anyway. We really don't want, our purpose isn't to let all these people slip through the cracks where we never talk to them again after we meet them at an event. So that's the follow-up system. I would just highly recommend either the digital or paper. And then with specific regard to team building, make it a point to reach out to 2 people a day on team building. That's like a minuscule amount. Let's say you're doing your 10 touches a day. We can all do at least 2 for team building. And like Annie prefaced this whole context of the meeting, if you want to see those huge numbers in your paycheck, you're growing an organization, period. That's how you do it. And you empower others, you build others. It's the saying that is common around Wild Tree language is that you rise by lifting others. And that's so true here. So make your dream team list, really hone in on those people who maybe you've never talked to, and you're leaving that message like, girl, you may think I can't say that, I am crazy, but I really would love to do business with you. I'd love to share more about what Wild Tree can and will mean for you and your family. You have 5 minutes to chat. Done. You don't have to go into detail. You don't have to say, hey, let's set out your 5-year plan right now with Wild Tree, and here's what you're going to do. No. You're just going to say, I'd love to share more. Do you have a minute? And then you get them on the phone. Does anyone have any thoughts or insight on that, or anything about this whole call that you guys want to hash over real quick before we call it good?
You know what I would love to see? I would love to see somebody from our group earn the homecoming incentive with Henry coming to your hometown.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I would love to see that with our group. So you guys all know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Okay. That would be awesome. Was this helpful for you guys in team building? Okay. I'm going to end the recording, and I'm actually going to